Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net and shareholder of Helios and Matheson, which owns MoviePass. And that's going to be especially important today because today's topic, I'm actually going to say something very, very negative about the parent company of MoviePass, Helios and Matheson, specifically their CEO, Ted Farnsworth. So for those of you who say that I am bought by MoviePass, that I am blinded by my investment in MoviePass, no, I got, as an investor, a major goose egg today, as did a lot of investors, and the company's financial situation is going to get a lot worse in the next 2 to 3 weeks at least, maybe even more, as a result of the announcement today. Now, please note that even though I'm having some issues with the company right now, it does not mean I don't ultimately believe in the company. I still think MoviePass is a great service. I still stand up that even with peak pricing, it is an awesome deal, especially if you don't have an AMC near you. And I am not selling any of my Helios and Matheson shares. I just am not. I will hold on to them, and I will hold on to them until they either break free and become a unicorn or until they go to zero. And I only invested as much as I was willing to lose, so if it goes to zero, I guess I'm going to be perfectly okay with that. Maybe not happy, but, I'm okay. I prepared for that. But you know what I really cannot stand is the CEO of Helios and Matheson, Ted Farnsworth. He has totally mismanaged this company. He has mismanaged MoviePass since he bought it, and I agree with fellow blogger Bob Weiss. He needs to go, and I'm going to tell you why. So anyway, you probably heard in the news about the shareholders voting to reverse the stock. Now, for those of you who do not know what a reverse stock split is, it's kind of the opposite of a stock split. Instead of let's say you have 10 shares and it splits, then you have 20 shares or 40, however much it splits. In the case of the reverse stock split, or maybe it's not a reverse stock, it's the reverse split, I should say. The 10 shares could become 5 because they merge together. Now, most of the time, shareholders do not like this, and they don't like this for a few reasons, mainly that it makes a company look weak, and it's a way to prop the stock up to make it look better on Wall Street. The only thing that's good is that even if it reverse splits, you're not losing any money. Your stocks aren't worth less, you just have less of them. And there's a lot of reasons why you would do a RS, but in this case, they did it because the stock is incredibly low. It's actually as low as 8 cents today. And thankfully, I bought most of my shares at either 30 cents, and then the other half I got at 11 cents. I have not been putting a lot of money into this company, and yet I'm going to have a lot less shares because they did the most unthinkable thing they could do. At the special shareholder meeting on Monday, they asked shareholders to vote on 2 propositions. One, the ability to leverage $1.2 billion in debt by issuing more shares, which, I personally voted yes on, and to reverse split the stock in the case of an emergency, which, in all fairness, I also voted yes on. And I voted yes because Ted Farnsworth came up, and, it was a frustrating meeting when I was listening in on it. He didn't offer a whole lot of business strategies on how to stop the cash flow. He did speak positively at the future, but he did come to answer the serious questions about these propositions we were voting on. And when it came to the reverse split, he said we could do it somewhere between 2 to 1 or 250 to 1. That's the highest we'll go. And here's the thing. We're not going to do it right away. We just aren't. In his words, the reverse split was going to probably just be a little bit of insurance. Hey, if we need to do this, we will do it, but we'll look at it on where we are at the time, and it probably won't be 250 to 1 because it's just crazy. And you know what? Like a fool, I believed him, even though this man has proven many times to not be completely trustworthy. And of course, the other reason that a lot of us shareholders probably voted for this is because, the stock is in danger of being delisted. I'm not naive to that. And so, a reverse split probably had to happen, but we didn't expect A, for it to happen right away, and B, we didn't expect him to go the max. He didn't wait one day to reverse split the stock, and then he didn't even measure like the lowest conservative estimates. He went as high as he could go, and that's where this becomes a problem. Because here's the thing, honestly, with the way MoviePass is getting pounded, you don't want to reverse split the stock until you absolutely have to. Right now, we didn't absolutely have to. We still had time to wait out the 60 days from the letter that NASDAQ warned us we'd have. After the 60 days, we could have filed to appeal, which they probably would have granted them the extension. In theory, we could have waited like 4 or 5 months before we even had to seriously consider RSing the stock. What's more, after waiting that time out, maybe the stock would have been a little higher. Maybe it would have been like 60 cents. You don't know. No, it has been threatening to go up the last week. It never quite seems to go because it goes up like a few cents and then it goes right back down to where it goes, and it goes down further a penny. It's really annoying, I know. But the fact that it's going up at all suggests that maybe people were starting to finally cool on the hate. So there was no reason to do this now. And there was a lot of reason to expect that by the time it came time to pull that lever, maybe we wouldn't have to be so extreme about it. And not only does this jackass do the 2 things we don't want him to do, he did the 2 things he said he absolutely would not do. He looked at all the shareholders, at least I assume he looked at them, I was listening through the audio, and he said, we will not do this right away, and when we have to do it, 250 will be the worst case scenario. It likely will not even get to that point. We just need the approval now so that if we have to cross that bridge, we have the authority to cross the bridge. Which, you know what, as shareholders, we want the best for MoviePass. An RS was probably inevitable, but we still had some time. So you know what, yeah, we wanted to vote yes on that so that should that time come, they could cross the bridge and we wouldn't be in a pickle. And then the third problem was this, is by doing both these things right away, he actually put the company in a bigger pickle than it was, because the stock isn't gaining a lot of buyers right now. Everybody knows that. I think at some point it will. I think once it hits 4, 5, 6 million subscribers, once people use the card less because of a combination of peak pricing and people owning, competitors, and so they're kind of balancing it out, I think investors would invest more money into it. But it is not now, and you know what's going to happen when you RS the stock? Yes, the stock will now be worth about $25. We know this. But it has shown no real signs of going up, so it could potentially go down more, and those stocks that were worth $25 one day in a week could be worth $11, and you have lost your shareholders so much money and the company so much value. Ted Farnsworth is a guy who clearly does not think these things through. I don't know who he's got advising him. I get the sense Mitch Lowe is a much better CEO. He's always spoken much more confidently about things, and he has actually been the one to explain how things are going to work. I believe it was Lowe who even perfectly justified the $9.99 price point when people said, well, why don't you raise the price to $20? People would much rather pay $20 than pay $10 plus peak pricing, and he made a very good point that at $10 a month with the casual movie people, you will have people who do not see movies and won't think twice about it because $10 is nothing. But if it's $20 and it's unlimited, you're going to lose some of those casual people who don't go to the movies and use the card every week, and you're just going to attract the people who are heavy users, and that's not good for MoviePass either. And so I finally accepted that and peak pricing as a new reality that we need to happen if this company is to survive. But every time Ted Farnsworth actually tries to explain something, he's just like, I've got business partners, there's money coming in, trust me, and we don't see it. And he also made that huge blunder that in any other company, this would have gotten him fired as a CEO, where he bragged at the Cannes Film Festival that they had made a major acquisition, and weeks after the Cannes Film Festival was over, we didn't have an acquisition to show for it. Now, granted, that did turn out to be MoviePhone. Came a little bit late, but I guess better late than never. But you know what? He shouldn't have announced it until that deal was ready. And he hyped it up so much, acquiring MoviePhone was not that big of a deal. And in fact, they still have not done nearly enough with it. They really should be integrating MoviePhone into MoviePass like crazy. Why haven't they done that? They've owned the thing for months now. Like, just why? I am under the impression Ted Farnsworth doesn't know what he's doing. I think he truly doesn't know what he's doing. I think Mitch Lowe is doing what he can to keep this company afloat, but if Ted continues as CEO, we're going to lose everyone. Because here's the thing, the stock is not everything, but the stock does help a lot. Talk to any company that loses a lot of money, and they will tell you what keeps their company afloat. Amazon doesn't make a lot of money. What brings in the money? The stock. Spotify does not bring in a lot of money, but the stock helps keep it afloat. And of course, Uber, which isn't publicly traded yet, but they make no money, and yet their investors keep pumping money into it. And when they go public, the stock will pump money into it. But as Enron found out, the stock can only carry you for so long. It can carry you for a long time, but it can't carry you forever. That said, if you ask Enron, you can see exactly how long the stock can carry a company that bleeds money and doesn't actually make a dime. So MoviePass does need the stockholders to be at least a little on board, and Ted Farnsworth is doing all the things wrong, and it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. Now, again, love MoviePass. We'll never cancel it. And I'm not selling my shares. I think MoviePass will ultimately be okay. That said, I am very, very frustrated with the CEO. I definitely do not want him behind the company anymore. Hopefully, the next time there's a shareholder vote, we can maybe vote to get him out of there. I am hoping that with the stock being a little bit more pricey now, that will attract some larger investors. Maybe they can start buying into the company, and like Papa John, maybe they can get him to the curb or something. I don't know. It's just very, very frustrating. I mean, I guess that's what the stock market's like. It goes up and down. And this is definitely the craziest stock I've ever owned, but whatever. So yeah, for those of you wondering, like, if I have any real concerns about MoviePass, like if I'm just like a shill for the company, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not happy with the CEO of Helios and Matheson, and he needs to step down or be fired. I think he's a liar. I think he's dishonest, and I think he's incompetent. And I frankly think that if MoviePass fails, I don't think it's going to be because of peak pricing. I don't think it's going to be because of heavy users. I don't even think it's going to be because of the stock. It's going to be because of Ted. And that is not a comforting thought, to know that he's the main captain behind this ship, and it doesn't even seem like he knows how to sail. But those are just my thoughts. What about yours? You agree, disagree? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy movies like this, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.